Look who we have here. You found your way into the dead spot, Buster.
So we're starting a new intro and you didn't tell me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, well, we have a tweeter that I always forget to mention. My shit looks really loud.
It probably is.
We have a Twitter, Dead Spot Pod, and Instagram, Dead Spot Pod, and email, deadspotpod@gmail.com.
Yep. Those are the ones.
Yeah, so. What's up?
Nothing, just watching Criminal Minds.
Yeah?
Yep.
Cool. What else is going on?
You know, I saw this article the other day that said if things like murder shows help you fall asleep at night, that's not good. And that's what I fall asleep to almost every night.
Yeah, I was going to mention something about that, and then I forgot to, so thank you for bringing that up.
And I was like, great, maybe I'm a sociopath, secretly.
I think so.
I don't think so.
Might be.
You think so?
Well, I got a few other news stories to run through real quick. So we just passed the 22nd anniversary of September 11th, and it recently came out. I forgot the exact date, but it says two more of the victims from the World Trade Center were recently identified. Still. So
Through what? Like DNA?
I found an article on Axios about it.
Is that a reliable source? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Chill out.
And so I'm going to read some stuff from it. Over 2 decades after the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, New York medical officials are still working to identify about 40% of unnamed victims. So it says just last week, just days before the 22nd anniversary, the New York Medical Examiner's Office said it identified 2 more victims of the attacks, which killed at least 2,753 people. The 2 new identifications are the 1,648th and 1,649th victims in the World Trade Center.
What if, like, the day the planes hit the World Trade Center, you were like, now is my chance to pretend I'm dead and start a new life?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I doubt people were thinking that way at the time, but maybe.
You don't know that.
The victims were not named at the request of their families, and a total of 59.9% of victims have now been identified. Determining who the 9/11 victims were remains the largest and most challenging forensic identification effort ever, according to the National Institute of Standards and Technologies, known as NIST. It has involved testing thousands of DNA samples derived from human remains collected at the site to samples collected from personal items of missing people, their relatives, and other collected remains. In many cases, the victim's DNA was severely degraded by exposure to the intense heat of the burning jet fuel and months of moisture after the attacks. So, yeah. So recently they just identified 2 more victims from September 11th, 2001. All right, so did you hear about the shooting at the Chicago White Sox game a few weeks ago?
No.
All right, well, this was an article from USA Today by Victoria Hernandez on August 29th. New details have emerged after a shooting that injured 2 women at Guaranteed Rate Field during a Chicago White Sox game on Friday night. On Tuesday, the ESPN Chicago reporter Peggy Kucinski said the gun was snuck into the stadium by one of the women who was hit. The shooting was an accidental discharge by the woman whose injury was previously identified as a graze wound.
But why do you have to bring a gun into a baseball game?
Well,
what is your reasoning?
I'm not sure, but you want to guess how she got it in to the stadium?
If you tell me she stuck it somewhere she shouldn't have.
She stuck it somewhere, but it wasn't necessarily shouldn't have.
Where?
In the rolls of her belly fat.
Oh my gosh, shut up. Nuh-uh.
Kucinski said she reportedly snuck the gun in past metal detectors, hiding it in the folds of her belly fat.
Like, how fat do you have to be? that, like, it doesn't even detect it.
How many inches of fat can fool a metal detector?
Well, I guess we know. We gotta find that lady.
I haven't seen a photo of her,
Like,
so...
do you think she's, like, my 600-pound lifestyle, or...
She was on her way to meet Dr. Now and took in a baseball game on the way.
Yeah, she took in a game while instead of being cooped up in the back of a van all day.
Per NBC5 Chicago, the shooting happened during the fourth inning of the game against the Oakland Athletics. Police initially requested that the game be stopped, but it went on due to the lack of perceived threat. We allowed the game to continue not to create a panic, Chicago's interim police, whatever that thing is, Fred Waller said, according to the news outlet.
Like a police chief?
It's SUPT. Super...
I don't know what that means.
Sup, Fred Waller. Initial reports were uncertain if the shooting happened inside or outside, but by Monday, police said the notion the incident happened outside was a, quote, almost completely dispelled. So this lady was really fat, went to a baseball game, and had a gun under her fat gut.
Her fat gut.
Yeah.
Things you learn every day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, do you want to start this episode?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so today our episode is going to be about Joseph Paul Franklin. Do you know him?
I haven't talked to him in a while, but...
I don't think you've ever talked to him.
Perhaps you could refresh my memory on who he is.
Well, first of all, that's not even his real name.
Good.
So, he was born James Clayton Vaughn Jr. on April 13th, 1950. He was born in Mobile, Alabama. His mom's name was Helen, and his father was James Clayton Vaughn Sr.
Sounds like a good old American family right there.
So he grew up with two sisters, Carolyn and Marilyn, and a brother named Gordon.
Marilyn and Carolyn, and they couldn't find a rhyming name for a boy?
No.
Okay.
So, from all the research I did, it seems like his upbringing was really terrible, which is probably why he's a terrible person. I mean, I don't think, like, things that happen to you when you're a kid necessarily make you, like, what this guy became. I think it depends, like, what you do.
So
I
you're
think
a
it's like a
nurture
choice.
versus nature person.
I think it's a choice. You can choose to, like, try to be better than how you were raised, or you're gonna succumb to all the terrible things that happened to you as a kid.
So would that not be a nurture? Or would it? Nature and nurture?
I mean, I think it plays a part, but I mean, I don't think... I mean, you can feel bad for him as a kid, but I don't think you can feel bad for him as an adult. Carolyn claims that whenever their father would come home, that he would beat the shit out of them. And their mom was a very strict German woman who also would use physical violence against her kids as a form of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn also says that there was plenty of poverty and no love in their house. They grew up in the all-white public housing projects in Mobile. She says that all of them were psychologically damaged. She has PTSD from childhood and has undergone psychiatric treatment, and their brother, Gordon, has also been in and out of mental institutions.
So this sounds like it's setting up very nicely for Joseph Paul to be well on his way to making it.
Yeah. So, we're just going to call him Franklin because it's easier.
Okay.
Alright, so Franklin says that him and his siblings were never given enough food to eat, that their parents didn't care about them, which is probably true because given all the physical abuse they suffered, I'm sure they had, like, brain trauma and everything else because your brain is still developing until you're, like, 26.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He says that this stunted his emotional growth, and he was always 10 years behind when it came to maturity with other kids his own age. So why did James Clayton Vaughn Jr. change his name to Joseph Paul Franklin?
Because he wanted it to be more basic.
No.
Sorry to all the Joe Paul Franks out there.
No. It was because of his admiration for Benjamin Franklin.
True.
And Joseph Goebbels. You know Joseph Goebbels?
Yeah.
He was the Nazi minister of propaganda. I think those are very two opposite people, if you ask me.
Well, they both wore glasses. No, Goebbels didn't. Never mind.
You don't know that. Maybe he needed reading glasses.
Maybe, but, being the master of propaganda or whatever the fuck he was called, like, he would just tell people, be like, nah, I have perfect vision. You cannot see very good.
Yeah, that's exactly how he sounded.
Hitler.
Alright, well, as a teenager, Franklin was drawn to white supremacy ideologies. He developed an interest in evangelical Christianity. And, I mean, I think we can all agree about how dangerous religion can be to people like Joseph Paul Franklin, who use it for other reasons than just to, pray.
Or like Joseph Goebbels and the Nazis, who were, wanted to make a one Christian nation.
Yes, exactly.
Non-Jewish people and other groups.
So after his interest in this type of religion, he then became involved in Nazism and held memberships in both the National Socialist White People's Party, which I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently that's another name for the American Nazi Party.
Well, because we needed a branch here, so we had to call them something, right?
I mean, do we need one? I mean, they got one in Florida.
Yeah, they're all around the place.
And he also had a membership to the Ku Klux Klan.
I was just going to mention them, too. I was like, well, we're in Alabama. It's, the 60s now? He was born in 50?
Yeah.
So, 60s, early 70s, like, if not Nazis, you got them, the fucking pesky Klan out there.
Yeah, those fuckers. Franklin was also inspired to start a race war after reading... Take it away.
Helter Skelter by Charles Manson?
No, the book by your favorite guy.
Night by Elie Wiesel?
I didn't mean your actual favorite guy.
Oh. Mein Kampf by Hitler?
Yep.
Okay.
After getting a severe eye injury, Franklin dropped out of high school. I tried to see what his eye injury was, and I saw it somewhere, but I forgot. Because it didn't really seem that relevant. I mean, I guess it's kind of relevant, considering how he murders all these people, but...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler if you didn't know. Anyway, so he dropped out of high school, got married, he becomes an abusive asshole to his wife, as the cycle usually goes.
Sure.
And he began getting acquainted with the law.
So getting arrested.
Yes, so getting arrested.
Okay.
For a lot of his life, Franklin roamed the East Coast searching for ways to, quote-unquote, cleanse the world of people he thought were inferior, especially black and Jewish people. Sound familiar?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it on a previous episode. You should go listen to the Yosef Mengele episode after this, if you haven't already, but
yes,
we'll talk about that kind of stuff in there.
And his primary source of income during this time? Bank robbing.
Nice.
Yep.
Classic.
He would bank rob, and he would also, donate blood for money, so probably, donating plasma. Yeah, so he's doing really well for himself. By this point in his life, Franklin is becoming increasingly hostile towards minorities and had even rejected a lot of the radical hate groups because he said they weren't hateful enough for him. He didn't think these groups took their hatred far enough. He wanted to actually attack these groups of people, not just sit around and complain about them. So he said when he would go to these, meetings, that people would sit around just, talk shit on, all these other people, these groups of people, and he's just like, why don't we do something about it? And these people are like, nah, we don't need to. And he was just like, you guys aren't hardcore enough for me.
Apparently not.
So his self-directed, quote-unquote, mission was to get more white supremacists to eventually join him in his mission and encourage them to act. So, his mission was to kill as many of these people as he could, hoping that other white supremacists would see it and be like, hell yeah, brother, let's join in. Yeah, so he figured he would lead them by example. Once they saw him killing, they would join in and also start killing. And that just, didn't happen. So, if you haven't guessed it yet, Joseph Paul Franklin was a neo-Nazi American serial killer, also known as the racist killer.
I mean, it's starting to sound familiar about wanting to target, different groups of people like that, but I haven't heard him called the racist killer.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why. So,
I mean, I could guess why.
So
You pretty much mentioned why.
Hold your horses. So according to an article by CNN, Franklin, quote unquote, not quote unquote, just quote, felt like he was at war. The white race was at stake. He said, I consider it my mission, my 3-year mission. The same length of time Jesus was on his mission, from the time he was 30 to 33.
Well, that would be 4 years. 30 would be the first year, 32 is the second, 33 is the third.
Listen, this is his quote, okay?
I'm just saying.
I didn't say he was smart. So
I also fucked up those numbers, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Whatever.
So according to the same article, Franklin talks about how he tattooed a Grim Reaper on his arm in honor of his mission. He also wanted the same tattoo artist to draw Helter Skelter on his arm.
I mentioned that.
Which is a reference to 60 serial killer Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Charles Manson also tried to start a race war in California.
But just for the record, not that it makes him any better or anything, but when people refer to him as a serial killer, he literally never killed anybody, but, you know, he led other people to. But
yeah.
Just to clarify, he was a cult leader, not a serial killer.
Debatable.
No.
Yeah.
He led a cult. He didn't kill those people.
Okay, we're not going to have this argument
He just
right
commanded the other people to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, the tattoo artist wouldn't do the Helter Skelter one, by the way. So his first known attack was in the summer of 1976 on Labor Day weekend in Atlanta. He followed an interracial couple, sprayed them with mace, and that was his first, physical attack.
Is just the mace?
Just the mace.
Okay.
But don't worry, he only escalates from here.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So at this point, Franklin is only 27.
Ripe age. Yep.
Yeah.
27 club. Should have joined it himself.
Well, he didn't. Before his reign of killing ended in 1980, it is believed that he took the lives of 15 men, women, and children in 11 different states. But the number is more like 22. And then he also confesses to killing a lot more people.
Over 4 years?
3.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All right,
in 3 years.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
So Franklin usually stalked his victims in a sniper's nest, yards away, looking down his high-powered rifle, waiting for the best time to shoot them.
Okay.
Which is interesting because he got that eye injury. So for him to be good at...
Maybe that's what it was from.
It wasn't.
Okay. Well, you said you couldn't find out why.
I saw it somewhere, but I forget.
So I was going to say, if he's got a sniper rifle...
It didn't have anything to do with guns.
Maybe he was practicing or learning and it fucking kicked back and kicked him in the eye.
That wasn't it.
All right.
All right. So we'll start with 1977.
Great place to start.
So on July 29th, 1977, Franklin firebombed Beth Shalom Synagogue in Chattanooga, Tennessee, completely destroying it. The only good thing about this was there was no loss of life because some of the worshipers left early Friday night. Therefore, there wasn't enough worshipers for minyan. And minyan is the quorum of 10 Jewish adults that are required for certain religious obligations. So because they didn't have 10 people, everyone was like...
We'll close up.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for them.
So on August 7th, 1977, so not long after his failed bombing attempt, Franklin shot and killed Alphonse, it's French, sorry, I did my best, Manning Jr. and Tony Schwen, an interracial couple in a parking lot at the East Town Mall in Madison, Wisconsin. Franklin said he killed them simply because they were an interracial couple. Obviously.
Yeah, that sounds like something a Nazi would do. Nazi white supremacist would do.
So then on October 8th, so a couple months later, Franklin hid in the bushes near Brith Shalom Knesset Israel Synagogue. I probably fucked that up. Sorry in advance. And waited for service to end. About 200 people were attending a bar mitzvah. When it ended, he fired on a group of people, killing 42-year-old Gerald Gordon and injuring Stephen Goldman and William Ash. Before service let out, Franklin had hammered 10-inch nails into a telephone pole to use as a makeshift gun rest for his hunting rifle.
As one does.
I mean, obviously. Franklin killed Gordon in front of his wife and 3 children because he was Jewish.
All right. How long do you think he was sitting in the bushes?
Probably hours.
What do you do for hours while you're just waiting in the bushes? He's just shaking with anger and rage because they're Jewish.
Yeah, he's probably sitting there wondering when they're going to come out so he can kill people.
Oh, I was just saying. I was just wondering how long he might have been hiding in the bushes.
Who knows? Probably a while.
Yeah.
So, now we're on to 1978.
All right.
All right, so on March 6, 1978, according to Franklin's own confession, he decided to try and kill Hustler publisher Larry Flint.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't remember everything about this, but now he's familiar to me. Now I get it. Okay, go ahead.
He used a Ruger 44 caliber semi-automatic rifle to ambush Flint and his lawyer Gene Reeves in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Franklin said that the magazine photographed an interracial couple having sex. This was published in the December 1975 issue, so a few years before. And according to that CNN article, Franklin stated, quote, "It just made me sick. I think whites marry with whites, blacks with blacks, Indians with Indians, Orientals with Orientals. I threw the magazine down. I thought, I'm going to kill that guy." Quote.
It's a very rational response.
I mean, it seems a little over the top, if you ask me.
Well, of course.
So Flint was shot 2 times, and although he survived, he's paralyzed from the waist down.
Yes. Is he still alive? I'm not sure.
I believe he's still alive, yes.
Continue, I'll check.
I'm not sure. Ironically, many years later, Flint would file a motion with the American Civil Liberties Union to stop, spoiler alert, Franklin's execution. Flint stated that people on death row are, quote, "minorities and underprivileged people, not wealthy white kids." Quote.
All right. Well.
I mean, I'm not sure what that has to do with murdering a bunch of people, so...
If you don't like Larry Flint now, he died a couple years ago.
Oh, okay, he's dead, so whatever.
He was 78.
I mean, I understand, like, the death penalty is very highly debated, but to make that kind of statement, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Flynn felt the death penalty was the easy way out and didn't want that for Franklin. Franklin, though, was never tried for shooting Flint, which Franklin later says was a mistake. That he should have been tried for that because he did it.
So he's doing this because he wants attention, kind of.
Like admitting to it?
Just in general?
He admits to a lot of crimes, which some of them I don't think are true.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that later. So on July 29th, 1978, Franklin hid near a Pizza Hut because...
Nobody out pizzas the Hut.
That's what you do.
Sponsor us.
In Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I love your pepperoni.
It shot and killed Bryant Tatum, a black man, and injured Nancy Hilton, Tatum's white girlfriend, who later survived. He shot them because, once again, they were an interracial couple, and he later confessed and pleaded guilty to the shooting and was given a life sentence.
All right. Good. Given a life sentence, so he's off the street.
Well, this is like later.
He was given a life sentence for it.
Yeah, later.
Oh.
Like, he's not done.
Oh.
We're not done.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're at 1979 now. On July 12th, 1979, Harold McIver, a Taco Bell manager, which to note...
Taco Bell?
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell and Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
So this guy just...
He's hitting all the fast food joints.
He's just having a fucking late night snack, and he's like, I'm just gonna hide in these bushes outside.
I don't know. I mean, I've never been to Taco Bell, so maybe it's like gross. So Harold was a black man. He was fatally shot through a window from 150 yards away. This happened in Doraville, Georgia. Franklin confessed to the shooting, and it does correlate with his sharpshooting abilities and the way he would kill people, but he was never tried for this crime. Franklin later says that he murdered Harold because he had close contact with white women. And then on October 21st, 1979, Franklin murdered Jesse E. Taylor, another black man, and his wife, Marianne Brissett, who was a white woman in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So, if you haven't caught on yet, Franklin does not like interracial couples. He does not like any person of any other race dating any other person because
he just loves Hitler and white people.
Alright, so now we're up to 1980. So according to Franklin, he wanted to kill big shots and important people, not just Larry Flint. On May 29th, 1980, Franklin shot and wounded civil rights activist Vernon Jordan after seeing him with a white woman in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Is this a specific pattern? Does the interracial couple have to be a black man and a white woman?
It seems that's what it mostly is, yeah.
Or are those just the ones that he came across, those couples?
Well, it's not just couples he kills. It's mostly just couples, but...
Black men?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, like, when he killed that Jewish guy.
I was just saying, because I'm not sure if he's just specifically looking for interracial couples with a black man and a white woman, or if he's just probably just wants to kill black men, or, like you said, any different kind of man. So...
Yeah, it pretty much seems like anyone that isn't like him. So, initially, Franklin denied any part in this shooting, and he was actually acquitted for this, like, this shooting. But later, he confessed to it. Franklin said that he sat outside Jordan's hotel room and waited. Once Jordan returned from an event, Franklin saw his chance and shot him.
Right. And killed him.
No, just wounded him.
Okay.
So, this next one is, like... It's pretty messed up. Just...
Right.
Trigger warning. So, this one, in case anyone wants to skip ahead, it has to do with kids. So, if that bothers you, this is your only warning that you're going to get.
And we're off.
Alright, on June 8th, 1980, in Cincinnati, Ohio, Franklin was waiting in his sniper's nest for an interracial couple to walk down the street so he could murder them. Franklin would set up in a railroad trestle, and he would wait for anyone with black skin to walk by. These are his exact words.
All right.
When cousins Daryl Lane, who was 14, and Dante Evans Brown, who was 13, came walking down the street just to go to the corner store, Franklin decided to shoot and kill them. He shot both of them twice to make sure they were dead. In a USA Today article by Kimball Perry, Franklin said, quote, "They just happened to walk by on the sidewalk, to tell you the truth. I basically set up an ambush for whoever walked by. I had no idea how old they were," quote.
Well, it's sticking pretty true to his Nazi ideology here, because they also murdered children just because they were Jewish and, different races than German. So, I mean, he's really all in on the Nazi stuff and white supremacist stuff.
Well, I mean, white supremacy was, like, his number one thing. Like, he wanted everyone to think that way.
No.
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 Franklin was later convicted of this crime in 1998. 1998.
In what year? 80?
80.
Okay.
And he received 2 life sentences.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
But then, a few days later, on June 15th...
1980.
1980, Franklin shot Arthur Smothers and Kathleen McCullough with his high-powered rifle as they walked across the Washington Bridge in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Smothers was 22 and black. McCullough was 16 and white. Franklin hid in a concealed wooded hillside overlooking downtown. Here, he essentially hunted for victims. He was never arrested for these murders, but he confessed to them during a jailhouse interview.
You said this was a couple in a relationship?
Yep.
22 and 16?
Yeah, I know. That seems like illegal, but... It was
I'm just saying, I noticed... Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, obviously that doesn't
that doesn't warrant someone to be murdered.
Yeah, but another black man and a white woman.
Yeah, so. Pretty inappropriate, but,
Wait, does he just kill the black man? Or both of them?
He killed both of them.
Okay. Yeah,
So let's not forget, though, while all these murders are happening, Franklin is still robbing banks. Hasn't been caught.
Uh-huh.
And also, he's still donating blood for cash. He's murdering people and robbing banks and just getting away with everything.
What the fuck? What were the bandits called in Home Alone? Because the Sticky Bandits is the second one, right?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure.
The Wet Bandits was the first one. So I'm like, yeah, he's just fucking slipping out of the clutches of the law here. Like, how long do you go on robbing banks and murdering black guys?
Well... I'll tell you.
It's been at least 4 years. We're on 80 now.
Oh, well, 77 to 80.
I thought he started 76.
Well, that's just when he maced someone.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, either way, he technically started in 76. Then he started killing.
Either way, he's been robbing banks for a very long time.
All right. So and he's slipping out of the grip.
Yeah. You ready for the next one?
Little slippy boy.
So this next one we're going to talk about, I'm not sure he did it. Because I think it's one of those ones that he confessed to, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. On June 25th, 1980, Franklin confessed to killing 2 hitchhikers, Nancy Santomero and Vicky Durian. Nancy was 19, Vicky was 26. He confessed to the crime in 1997, in which he said he murdered them after one of them said she had a black boyfriend.
I feel like I've heard that story.
You have.
Okay.
Recently.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm not sure about this, because another man, Jacob Beard, was convicted of this crime in 1993, and then was later freed in 1999 because of Franklin's confession. And the 2 hitchhikers case is a case all in itself. You probably heard it on Morbid, because they covered the episode.
Okay, then probably, yeah. Guess that'll do it.
Because I was reading it and I was like, why does this sound so familiar to me? So I'm not sure if he was genuine or he was just... You know how, like, people just start confessing to things that, like, they didn't actually do?
You know how these white supremacists just love the attention, you know?
I mean,
look at me,
I really don't... I'm not sure he did that.
Look at me.
Because, like, killing someone...
That's what I said earlier.
Picking up hitchhikers isn't really his M.O.
Well, plus there was also a lot of hitchhikers back in those days, so it was, like, a common thing, so it didn't really have to be an M.O. But if they're just talking, he's like... Yeah, here's some good old white women. Yeah, wait. You like black men? No.
First of all, if you look at a picture of him, he's disgusting. I'm not sure anybody is going to get in a car with him. He looks terrifying.
Well, like I said, he couldn't get like a bus or something.
He looks homeless.
You go hitchhiking.
All right, well, we'll just move on because I just wanted to mention it.
All the white supremacists are ugly as fuck.
Well,
They're all little uggos.
Little uggos.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention it, but I'm just not sure, because that whole case it's a lot of those two. Because they were, like, on that way to that festival.
Right.
And then never heard from.
So they were desperate to get to the thing, and...
Well, it was after the thing, I think. After the festival. I think they were trying to go to their friend in, like, Virginia or something. I mean, either way... If you have a minute, look it up. But
either way, they're like, yo, look at this uggo in this car, but he's going to pick us up, so we'll get in.
No.
Even though he's uggo.
Anyway, we'll move on to the next one. So on August 20th, 1980, Franklin killed 2 black men, Ted Fields and David Martin, near Liberty Park in Salt Lake City, Utah. Fields and Martin were jogging in the park when they were gunned down by Franklin. So, like, all of his things are just, like, him hanging out, gunning people down. Mm-hmm. That's also why I'm like, I don't know about this.
What do you mean?
The girls before. I'm still thinking about it.
Oh, because he killed the girls?
Yeah, but usually he just, like, makes a sniper's nest, hangs out, waits, and then shoots them. Like, he's not picking up people and then murdering them in his car. You know what I mean?
Like I said, he picked them up because they were white, and then when they're like, oh, we like black guys, he's like, well, you ain't getting out of here alive then.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But anyway, so according to an article by Don Terry, Franklin said, quote, I intended to shoot an interracial couple coming out of a convenience store. Then I saw 2 interracial couples jogging around Liberty Park. I swung the rifle real quick to my left. I was able to get a shot off real quick and drop one of the blacks, quote. Instead of running away, his friends grabbed him and tried to pull him to safety. Franklin said he didn't understand why they would want to help him, so he quickly reloaded the rifle and dropped the second black man.
His friends?
Yeah, because it was like 2 couples jogging in the park together.
So he's saying he doesn't know why the white people would help him.
According to Franklin, quote, I then emptied the gun into both guys while they were lying there. I figured I should complete the job, quote. These were the last murders Franklin would commit. He was tried on first-degree murder charges and federal civil rights charges in this case.
As he should.
Yeah. So let's talk about his apprehension, because it's coming up.
All right, go ahead.
So after the 2 murders in Utah, Franklin was traveling through Kentucky when he was stopped by police, detained, and questioned regarding a firearm he had in his car. Other evidence recovered from his vehicle potentially linked him to the sniper killings, so they were like, we should take this guy in.
Good idea.
But during the interrogation, Franklin escaped through a window and fled into the night.
like a fucking
because
wet bandit.
Because apparently we
Apparently.
put prisoners in rooms with windows so they can leave.
Well, I mean, I don't want to... We're not going to do any episodes about him because there's a million fucking things about him, but Ted Bundy, that's how he escaped.
Mm-hmm.
He jumped out of that second floor window and just, like, ran away.
Yeah, and it's interesting because all of this stuff is around the same time.
Yeah.
This was in September of 1980. At this point, authorities knew racism was the connecting thread to all these shootings. I wonder how they put that one together.
Great work, guys.
Despite them being in different states, and they knew they had one lone shooter. Probably because of the gun used.
And the method and,
yeah,
you know, the interracial couples and stuff.
So, after Franklin's escape, the FBI decided to try criminal profiling in order to catch him.
Whoa.
Criminal Minds.
Whoa. Well, we can't play the song either.
Not the song.
Well, it's good, because then we don't get fucking copyrighted by, what are they, Warner Brothers or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But, previous FBI unit chief John Douglas had pioneered a behavioral research program with the Bureau with his partner Bob Ressler.
And it was headed up by Agent Hotchner.
And Derek Morgan.
And, well, Derek Morgan comes in a little bit later, but...
No, he's in the first episode.
Oh, I mean this guy, Rossi.
Rossi
comes in.
As we're staring at Rossi's face because it's paused on the TV.
Yeah, and it scared me because I thought it was just a face on a black screen, but like that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Like a ghost. They interviewed offenders in prison to better understand their mindset, motivations, like, what's his name?
Oh, so we're talking like Mindhunter.
Well, if you wait, I was going to say this is the inspiration behind Netflix series Mindhunter.
Yeah, that's why the second name sounded familiar.
Thanks for ruining it.
Well, bring back Mindhunter. Right, Netflix, whoever. Tell them to fucking bring that shit back.
Because who did they interview? Who's that guy?
Ed Kemper.
Mm-hmm. It was him and like one other person they were interviewing to better understand their minds. So Douglas predicted Franklin would return to familiar and comfortable areas such as Mobile, Alabama, where he lived and had successfully robbed banks. This is also where his second wife and child lived. So he got married again somehow during all of this. Someone married this guy and had a baby with him.
Yeah, and did sex with him at least once.
At least
once.
Minimum.
Probably once.
Probably more than once.
Well, maybe she's also a white supremacist.
Yikes.
Weirdo.
She's not, but either way. So this is exactly what happened. Franklin was spotted in Mobile and then shortly again in Florida. Franklin was eventually arrested in Florida while donating blood for cash. After
Classic.
a technician recognized him by a flyer from authorities and his racist tattoos.
Well, what... Do you know what kind of tattoos he had?
No, the only ones I know are the two I told you.
What were they?
I think it was a Grim Reaper and
right.
Helter Skelter or whatever.
I figure he probably had a swastika.
He probably
or two.
had more, but they didn't really say.
The SS, probably. The Skull and Crossbones, I forgot what it was called, from the SS. Probably dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
Classic white supremacist tattoos.
On October 28th, 1980, Franklin was arrested in Lakeland, Florida. Franklin was tried on both the state and federal level and was eventually convicted of 8 murders and sentenced to multiple life sentences. He was sentenced to death in 1997 for the killing of Gerald Gordon, who was shot while leaving a synagogue in Missouri after attending a bar mitzvah.
I guess I'm just wondering how they determined that that's the one that he's getting sentenced to death for. Is it because he was waiting in the bushes for X amount of time?
Because he...
And like...
all of them are premeditated, so I don't know. Psychiatrist Dorothy Otnell Lewis, who had interviewed Franklin at length, testified for the defense, saying that she believed Franklin was a paranoid schizophrenic, unfit to stand trial. She noted his thinking as a result of a traumatic and abusive childhood. He stood trial and was convicted as previously stated. Franklin was in prison for more than 30 years and spent 15 years on death row. During his final few months, Franklin began giving numerous interviews with different news outlets. He claimed that he wasn't dangerous anymore to society and he, quote, cured his mental illness through education, quote. Because, obviously.
So he didn't cure his mental illness, he cured his ignorance.
Yeah, I think in, like, one of the quotes, he's like, I still don't like it, but it's not my business. So, he also said that he, quote, deserved to be executed for his crimes, but that he was hoping for mercy, quote. Meaning, he was hoping they wouldn't execute him.
Well, they also didn't for 15 years.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like a lot of people are on death row for, like, 25 years. Although Franklin was hoping for mercy, he didn't show his victims any mercy when he gunned them down just for being alive.
Showed it, or being
Or for
not
being,
white.
yeah.
Or Christian.
Mm-hmm. In his final days, Franklin said that he regretted killing people and that he doesn't believe it's the most important thing he's done in his life. Quote, I don't see it as some type of achievement. Quote.
That's good.
I
but
mean,
probably
okay,
not
but,
true.
like, also you've been in jail for 30 years. Like, obviously you don't have any other achievements. Like, no offense.
Like, that's a good statement, but it's probably not true either.
No, absolutely not. So, although Franklin claimed not to care that he was about to die, he tried to get clemency for his crimes, but was denied. According to deathpenalty.org.
Glad they have an official website.
They sure do.
It's not a .gov?
No.
Okay.
Clemency is the process by which a governor, president, or administrative board may reduce a defendant's sentence or grant a pardon. Clemencies in capital cases are extremely rare, and less than 2 have been granted per year since 1976. So, some reasons that clemency might be granted to defendants are mental illness, which is what Franklin's defense tried, and if a co-defendant was given a lesser sentence, inadequate legal representation, which is another one a lot of people use, or evidence of a wrongful conviction. In Missouri, where he has granted only 4 clemencies since 1976.
Well, once again, this fucking little squeaky, slippery man gets out of it.
Well, just wait. So...
Okay.
So Franklin was scheduled to be executed on Wednesday, November 20th, 2013. He did get a stay of execution the day before, claiming that he was too mentally incompetent to be executed. His lawyers also got a stay of execution on Tuesday because they argued that the drug pentobarbital used in the lethal injection cocktail would violate the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. It would be too cruel to kill him like that. But he didn't care about how he was killing other people.
No, he doesn't care.
This guy killed over 20 people, and everyone's like, oh, might be too cruel.
A little bit.
So his lawyers claim this drug prolonged unnecessary pain beyond that which is required to achieve death. The conventional lethal injection protocol is pancuronium bromide to cause muscle paralysis and respiratory arrest, potassium chloride, and midazolam for sedation. So typically a barbiturate, paralytic, and a potassium solution.
True. We also mentioned this in our last meals episode. So
yeah, don't worry.
If you didn't listen to that, go ahead and check that one out too.
An appeals court quickly overturned both of his stays of execution, and the Supreme Court rejected all of his final appeals.
All right.
So what do you think Franklin's last meal was?
Do
you like how this is all coming back full circle to, like, other episodes we've done?
Yeah, because that means this is our grand finale and we're never doing another one ever again.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
We're wrapping it up in a nice bow.
Oh.
Thanks for listening. What year is it?
2013.
Okay.
I almost said 1976. Tide
Pods.
Can you have, like, a serious guess?
I don't know.
Okay.
Wait. Pizza Hut pizza.
And Taco Bell. No.
Shit.
So he refused the last meal.
What a little bitch.
And he had no final words.
What a bitch. What a waste. What a waste of space.
Yep. So Franklin was executed on November 20th, 2013 at 6:07 a.m. and died approximately 10 minutes later from lethal injection. Witnesses said he didn't say a single word, did not show he was in pain. He blinked a few times, breathed heavily a few times, and swallowed, and then his chest stopped moving, and that was it.
All right.
Franklin was dead. D-E-D, dead.
Bye, bitch.
I just want to share a few quotes from Franklin in his final days.
Please, go ahead.
According to a USA Today article, These are some of the things that Franklin said to them, and I just thought they were interesting. So, quote, I'd like for people to think of me as a person who is filled with a lot of love for people, not filled with hate for people. Quote.
He forgot to say white before people.
And I just had to giggle when I read that, because I was like, is this guy serious?
Just read that again and put white in front of people.
Like, what? So that's how he wanted to be remembered, as a man filled with a lot of love.
Yeah. He loved killing black people.
Yeah. And also, his goal was for the families of the people he killed not to hate him. He said, quote, I am a human being just like everyone else. I can't even say it with a straight face because it is so ridiculous. I'm a human being, guys.
Yeah, a shitty one.
I'm a human just like everyone else. I deserve forgiveness just like everyone else.
You're a real shitbag human with a lot of love of not love.
I mean, in one of the sources I had, one of the women that was with one of the guys that were jogging around the park, she said that she was like traumatized from the experience, but she did forgive Franklin.
Well, again, to call back to the Yosef Mengele episode, when I mentioned the one survivor in the documentary forgiving Dr. Mengele.
Yeah, it's not right.
But like her, like that's, and for certain families of certain victims, like it's more of a thing for them, so they feel better. Like they don't actually condone or give him a pass for anything he's done, but just to lift the weight off of themselves, that they're like, I don't want to carry around this hate for this person anymore. Like, so I'm free. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of these families choose to forgive the person that murdered their family member or whoever it is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
So, again, it's not like, oh, it's cool what you did. It's just more like, you're not worth my thoughts anymore. You're not worth my time or energy, like, being mad at you anymore, so I forgive you.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like I hold a mean grudge.
I probably wouldn't do that, but it's very commendable to the people that do.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that either. But I also saw, like, his daughter was talking about how she, like, talked to him a lot in his final days. And how he tried to be the best dad he could, like, while he was in prison. Because he went to prison when she was, like, 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said how, like, she didn't tell anyone, like, who her dad was. And I was like, yeah, no kidding. I wouldn't tell anyone either.
Yeah, good move.
And then at the end, she was just like, I'm telling everyone who my dad is.
Yeah.
I'm telling everyone who my dad is.
My daddy is bad.
Ew, don't say it like that.
Bad dad. And now everyone's gonna know who you are.
But she was saying how, like, she's, like, fucked up from that, and how she's, like, how he was an alcoholic and she's an alcoholic and
yeah,
stuff like that. And how she grew up, like, really poor. That's it.
Cool.
So that's Joseph Paul Franklin, that fuckface.
Yeah.
But I haven't, like, everyone talks about, like, the serial killers, like, you know, the regular ones. The most famous ones, like Ted Bundy, BTK, that clown guy.
Yeah, that's why I plan on never doing any episodes on here about them, because there's a million things already. So if you already haven't heard, then first of all, where have you been? Second of all, there's just too much shit about it already.
But yeah, but I never heard of this guy.
Well, I didn't know him by name, but once you started talking, you
once
mentioned
I talked
Larry
about
Flint.
Larry Flint.
And, yeah, the girls in the car.
Yeah, but listen, I don't know. I don't know if that one was him.
I don't know.
But if it was him, then great, because he got executed for that. But if it wasn't him, and it was that other guy, he's out.
But, yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's still out, but he was released in 1999.
But this kind of shit is what made, you know, the shooting at Tops happen.
Yeah.
That little fucker came, how long was it? 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, we drove that length on the way back. On the way back from the Poconos.
I mean, that gives you plenty of time to think about what you're about to do.
Brother, you're staring at fucking road and trees for 3.5 hours. And then you still come to shoot up a supermarket. Only shoot the black people. Because well, you never saw the video, so.
I don't want to see the video.
Yeah, lucky you. But.
You didn't have to watch it.
At the end of it, he sees the white guy and, he screams for his life, and then the shooter says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then lets him go because he's white, because he was there to kill black people. So, I mean, obviously, this guy was way into Nazism and all that stuff, and that was 30 years before, well, he was born in 50, so it ended a few years before he was born, but it goes back way before that, and it's still racism, white supremacist, whatever, race supremacy type shit still exists.
Very prevalent today.
Oh, yeah.
People try to act like it doesn't exist anymore, and that is a big fat lie. I feel like you're living under a rock if you think stuff like this doesn't happen, especially now with the internet. They probably have all these, websites and forums and places where all these people just talk shit all day.
And that's where, again, going back to the top shooting, that's how this kid was radicalized, during COVID lockdowns or whatever. The excuse was, oh, we got radicalized on the internet.
It's kind of like how all those weird incel guys all talk to each other.
And then,
how that one day before work I ended up on incel Twitter by accident.
Yeah, and I think, Dylan Roof was one of them that shot up the black church with his fucking shitty bowl haircut.
Yeah, and they're probably all, idolizing each other, or people that have done it in the past.
Of course they do. There's still people that idolize the, I don't know if I want to put his name out there, but he shot up a mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand a few years ago, and he was big white supremacist shit like that. And for a third time about tops, in his little manifesto, which we'll just call a stupid little diary, he referenced that guy too, and so have many others that carry out these shitty race-based shootings. So, if you're a racist, then you're just really shitty.
Yeah, if you're a racist, you suck.
Yeah. And I'm surprised you listened to this entire thing before we told you to fuck off. You didn't get the hint.
Yeah.
Because you don't listen.
Yep. All right. Well.
So, yeah.
That was our TED Talk. The last 2 minutes of racism.
So we'll wrap that up, I guess. But so again, we have a Twitter and an Instagram.
Yeah, give us a follow. Send us an email. Tell us a story.
That's about pod on Twitter and Instagram.
If you guys have any stuff you want us to cover, let us know.
deadspotpod@gmail.com.
And that's it.
Yeah.
We'll see you for the next uppy. Next uppy.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Don't be racist and shitty.
Yeah,
and
don't
bye.
be a bitch.
Yeah,
bye.
Bye.